So I really enjoy watching the Oscars, and since they're this Sunday, and for once I've actually seen most of the movies that are nominated for Best Picture, I wanted to go through kind of my own ranking of them and let you guys know the ones that I didn't love so much and the ones that I really enjoyed. So I'm going to rank them from worst to best, with a couple exceptions that I haven't actually seen all of them. So two of them, Marty Supreme and Cinema of Value, are actually off of this list because I haven't seen them. And just to also make a quick PSA, because you'll probably notice this. Also, I'm a little bit sick, sorry. Is that I typically don't love like Oscar type movies as a whole, and there are several reasons for that. I often feel that they're too long, like overly long, which I'm all for, like a super epic movie. But I think, a lot of these tend to be too long. Not all of them. Again, this is just general thoughts on how I feel about kind of like the Oscar bait kind of movie. They can be overtly long. They can also be a little bit heavy-handed in the adult content department, to where it's like, I get some of it, I get, depending on the movie, certain things might be present in that movie, but I feel that a lot of the Oscar Best Picture nominations tend to, for me personally, just for me, tend to overdo it. And then like the biggest reason for me is that a lot of the movies, while almost always well made, are not entertaining at the same time. And I don't mean fun. Like, fun and entertaining are different. Like, fun is fun, but entertaining, I think, is a little bit more related to like engaging. And a lot of these movies are not enjoyable for me to watch, even though they're well made. It's one reason why I think Christopher Nolan, for me, he's my personal favorite director, is because he can make these kind of prestige level films that get nominated for Oscars, and then, in Oppenheimer's case, win for Best Director and Best Picture. But his movies are always entertaining. For example, like Oppenheimer is, for the most part, a movie about scientists discussing and talking and mathematics, and somehow Nolan has made that really riveting and engaging. And so that's why he's my personal favorite director, and he can take even a movie as on paper that's kind of methodical and mathematical and interesting, and make it a very compelling movie in Oppenheimer. So I find that a lot of movies that are nominated for Best Picture, for me, don't really check that last box of also being entertaining. So I don't want this to come across as like a hate fest on like the lower tier, because there's some movies that I really don't like in here, but there also are some movies that I absolutely love. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into it. So again, like I said, Cinema of Value and Marty Supreme are going to be out of this ranking because I haven't seen them. Those are the only two that I haven't seen. And I know it's like, why haven't I seen Marty Supreme when I've seen all of the other ones? And then Cinema of Value looks really cool from the trailers that I've seen, but I didn't go see them in theaters, and they're not on any streaming service that I currently have at the moment. So hopefully I'll catch them at some point. Okay, starting off with number 8, my least favorite movie of all of the Best Picture nominations that I've seen, and that is Bugonia. I could tell from the trailers that this was a very Oscar-y, like baity kind of movie, and so I just kind of knew going into it that I wasn't going to like it. But I wanted to watch as many Best Picture nominated movies as I could this year, just so I had some knowledge about them when watching the Oscars. So I watched it, and for the first half, I actually was really enjoying it. I was like, okay, they kind of tricked me out here. Like, this is a pretty good movie. And then we kind of get into the second half, and especially the end. And I won't spoil anything for anybody who hasn't seen the movie, but they just kind of totally lost me. They totally lost me in the back half. One of the things that I liked about the first half was kind of like the overtly kind of satirical, bombastic score kind of played into this movie that is serious but also kind of satirical at the same time. And then it kind of like moves into the second half of the movie where I feel like the tone of the movie kind of shifts into more serious, but the score doesn't, and so it just kind of feels a little bit out of place to me. That's one thing I didn't like. I'm a big fan of 4:3 aspect ratio when filming, but I didn't think this movie needed it or like deserved it. Like, I thought it would have been better in the standard anamorphic, whatever that range is, or like a 16:9. I didn't think that this movie was benefited any by using 4:3. Now, there's another movie on this list that uses 4:3 that I thought was like phenomenally used, and I love that they used it there, and I thought it was very well utilized. But yeah, Begonia, my least favorite of the movies that I saw. Again, I really liked the first half. The second half kind of lost me, and then the ending, again, I won't spoil. The ending is one of those like either you love it or you hate it kind of things, and it just did not work for me at all. It didn't work for me at all. I hated it. So there's Begonia. Okay, secondly, or I guess I would say seventh, in seventh place is The Secret Agent. I saw The Secret Agent this past Saturday. I went to one of the AMC Best Picture showcases where they kind of they do it over 2 weekends or 2 Saturdays. So the first Saturday they'll play 5 movies nominated for Best Picture. The second Saturday they'll play another 5. I'm not going to be able to go next Saturday, but I did go this past Saturday, and that's where I saw Secret Agent. And I'll say this, I think that, and of course his name is escaping me right now, the main character, the actor who played the main character in the movie, I thought was like really good, like top-notch acting. He definitely deserves the best actor in a leading role nomination that he got, and that's about all that I can say that's positive about this movie. I didn't really like detest anything that happened in it, like I did in Begonia, which is kind of why that's lower, even though I like more things in Begonia than I do in The Secret Agent. But I just didn't really like anything in The Secret Agent other than like the main actor. I think that for me, and I had my friend kind of help me understand this a little bit afterwards, but for me, like the plot seems really disjointed, and it seems like it's a movie that wants to be too many things and never settles on one thing. And I think that's kind of its biggest flaw. It is kind of like this like pseudo Tarantino-esque type movie, but again, it never like goes like full-fledged into like what subgenre it wants to be or anything like that. So yeah, I didn't love The Secret Agent. Well, I didn't like The Secret Agent. So yeah, I really didn't enjoy my time with The Secret Agent. I will say the third act picks up significantly. The third act is much, much better than the first 2 acts, which suffer tremendously from pacing issues. Like, if the pacing of the third act had been in the first and the second act, like, this would have been probably a pretty solid movie. But just the pacing isn't there, and on top of that, I think it's almost 3 hours. Maybe it's like 2 hours and 40 minutes or something. And so it was just, to be completely honest, an absolute slog to get through. Okay, in 6th place, we have F1. F1 is like, it's one of those movies, it's not an Oscar movie at all. I would think it'd be a movie that I'd really like, but to me, when I was watching it, and especially after I finished it, I feel like F1 is trying to be Top Gun Maverick mixed with Ford v Ferrari, and it's the inferior version of both of those movies. Like, I'd much rather either watch Ford v Ferrari or Top Gun Maverick. I felt like this was a movie that was trying to be a mixture of both, and it just didn't, for me, it just did not click. It was very generic. I mean, Brad Pitt was fine, but he played a very kind of one-note character, I would say, overall. Not that they don't introduce some depth, but it's just the way that it was played. Overall, it's like one of those like super like bro dad movies that you would think would really click with me, especially because of how much I like Top Gun and Ford v Ferrari, but it just did not click for me at all. Yeah, I found it pretty generic and disappointing overall. That's not to say there aren't positives of this movie. I mean, the way it was filmed was awesome. All of the F1 shots were like just like absolutely spectacular. It is a very, like, to its credit, it's an entertaining movie for the most part, but it's just kind of a thin movie as well to me. There's not a lot of depth to it, and I think that's kind of my biggest issue. It's just kind of thin and basic for like your typical sports racing dad movie. Okay, so I kind of wrestled a little bit between putting this movie in F1 spot or F1, so obviously I decided doing F1, and it's purely just because I think this movie has some genuinely enjoyable parts in it. There are a lot of things that I don't really love about it, but overall, I still enjoyed the movie, and that's one battle after another, which I know is like super low compared to a lot of people's lists. Like, a lot of people have this as like their best movie of the year, and I just think this movie is incredibly overhyped. For me, like, I didn't love it, but there are some really, it's very, it is a very engaging movie, which I appreciate. And some of this could be because it played immediately after The Secret Agent, but like, I was so much more locked into this movie. Like, the pacing is just like so much better than it was in Secret Agent. So like, I was actually locked into it. And the performances are like outstanding. Like, Leo, great as always. Benicio del Toro is awesome. And you know, all of the performances were very good. Those were like the two favorite characters that I could think of. But even the actress that played Willa, like, she did a great job. Everybody, like, the dude who played the villain, is it Sean Penn? I think, like, he should probably win Best Supporting Actor for that role. It's a very creepy villain, very nasty, weird, but a terrific performance. So it's for all of those things, and I think that it was shot really well. I do have some issues in the third act. Like, a lot of people rave about like the car chasing scene at the third act, and to me, there's like, that I can think of, there are like several plot holes in that scene that I can't really wrap my head around, like the logic of some of the things happening in that. Aside from it being, you know, entertaining, I don't think it makes a ton of sense. And there's one thing that really happens that's kind of funny, but like, it also doesn't make any sense. So, but overall, I enjoyed it. I didn't love it, but I liked it enough. I thought it was good. So like, all the movies from here on out, like, I strictly very much enjoyed. Like, I really enjoyed all of these movies. You know, I still have some flaws or some things here and there that I didn't like, but overall I really enjoyed the rest of these movies. So number 4 on my list is Frankenstein. Frankenstein, I don't think I've seen any other adaptation for anything Frankenstein. So this was my first one, and I thought it was a great movie. Like, I thought it was really entertaining. Kind of has like that classic Guillermo del Toro gothic art style, which is really cool. Oscar Isaac does a really good job in this movie, as he always does. Jacob Elordi, I think, is the one who played Frankenstein's monster. He does a terrific job. And I think just overall, this is an incredibly well-made movie. The sets are awesome. The lighting is awesome. The cinematography was very good. I think that if I were to have a negative about this movie, I think the middle, like the second act, is kind of paced pretty slow. Like, first act, great. Third act, phenomenal. Second act, I got a little bit bored. But it pulls you right back in when you get to the third act. So overall, and it wasn't too bad. It was just kind of like, maybe it was the end of the first act. I don't exactly remember, but it's like right before, like, he actually creates the monster. Just kind of like the 10 or 15 minutes before that just kind of like really slowed down for me personally. But overall, I mean, again, the ending is terrific. It's very like emotional, and a fulfilling end. So yeah, great movie. Okay, so these final top 3 are very very close together. So like I have them kind of like all like right here. So I'd be happy if any of these win Best Picture. I don't think any of them will win Best Picture. I think One Battle After Another probably has it in the bag, although I think there is a chance for Sinners to win it. We'll just have to wait and see what happens. So in third place is Hamnet, and this is a movie that I kind of knew I was really going to like, or at least I thought I was. I'm kind of a big sucker for period pieces and for kind of the like literature / playwright adaptations, kind of classic English stuff. I'm a really big fan of all of that, so I kind of knew I was going to like Hamnet. It's a very difficult movie to watch just because of the subject matter, obviously. So while it's not a movie that I plan on rewatching anytime soon, like I'm blown away at how great that movie is, especially the second half, and especially the ending is just absolutely phenomenal. It's the most memorable ending of a movie that I've seen in like probably a really long time, and it plays like The Nature of Daylight at the end, and I'm a sucker for The Nature of Daylight. Anything that ever plays The Nature of Daylight, I am like I'm sucked in. So terrific movie. Jessie Buckley, I'm sure will get the Oscar. She deserves it. She did a great job. So yeah, I'm very happy that I was able to see this movie. I'm happy it was nominated for Best Picture, and I don't think it'll win, but I'm just happy that it's being recognized. Okay, coming in at number 2 is Sinners. So Sinners is a movie I watched pretty late to the game. I watched it a couple months ago. But again, like Hamlet, like totally blown away. Like this movie is awesome. A movie like this doesn't typically get recognized at the Oscars, so it's really great to see. And it's because it's just a really terrific movie. Like Ryan Coogler is just so good at making movies, and Michael B. Jordan is he's just phenomenal in this movie. Like I haven't seen Marty Supreme, obviously, and I know that I know Timothée Chalamet is the favorite to win Best Actor. But just based off of the things that I've seen, which Sinners is included in that, I personally would give it to Michael B. Jordan, just because I think what he did is just spectacular, playing like two people and just kind of, it's so believable what he does. So the movie is great. The way it uses music is great. It uses blues, and it uses kind of Celtic, kind of like historical music and folk music, there we go, and just the way that movie all comes together is just, it's a beautiful movie. Okay, so that only leaves one movie remaining, and that's Train Dreams. I was not expecting to like Train Dreams as much as I did. I absolutely love this movie. It's probably my favorite movie of 2025, although Superman is up there, and Thunderbolts, but this is definitely like top 3. So coming back around to the 4:3 aspect ratio, this movie is in 4:3, absolutely gorgeous. It's shot with seemingly a lot of natural light. I haven't looked in to see if it's actually natural light, but it certainly seems that way. It takes place in the Pacific Northwest in the 1920s, I think. I saw a Letterboxd review for this movie, and I thought that it kind of like perfectly summed up what this movie is about, and it said what a blessing and a curse it is to feel. And so it's essentially just about this logger who's played by Joel Edgerton. So yeah, it's just kind of about his life, his career as a logger, and getting married, and his wife is played by Felicity Jones, who does a terrific job as well. They have a baby, and it's just kind of like about his life and the things that he experiences throughout his life, and trying to find meaning in the things that he does experience. And man, like for a movie that is, it's a pretty slow paced movie, but like intentionally. But for me, I think a lot of people might be bored with this movie. I was not at all. Like it's a very compelling movie. I was into it the whole time, and like the ending is just absolutely beautiful. And that's the best way to describe this movie, is it's just a beautiful piece of art. It's a beautiful movie. And that's why it's my personal pick to win Best Picture. I think it was the best movie this year. It was my favorite movie of the nominees, I mean. And I don't think it really has a chance to win, just because it doesn't, hasn't really been hitting any of the other awards. But it is easily my favorite movie of the 10 nominees, or the 8 nominees that I've seen. So, but yeah, those are my rankings for the Best Picture nominations. I'm very excited for the Oscars. I love watching it every year. Feel free to let me know what your personal rankings are for the movies that you've seen in this category. And yeah, we'll see what happens.